Hello and welcome to our latest video. Today I'm talking all about bed sharing. If I were to stand up in a room and say the word bed sharing, it's likely that within 5 minutes there would be an interesting debate going on. Many people hold strong views on both sides of the debate, but stick with me for a balanced discussion today, along with some tips to support your clients who are ready to move on from bed sharing gently. One way that parents often cope with their baby's night waking is to bring their baby into their bed with them. It is a common, biologically normal and adaptive strategy that has been practiced for thousands of years. Many argue that it is protective against SIDS when no other risk factors are present. So let's talk about bed sharing from the perspective that it is culturally normal in most of the world. Let's acknowledge that it's prevalent. Also that it's often chosen by informed parents who wish to maximise their sleep, facilitate easier night feeds, and provide close responsive care to their little ones. And if you like learning about all aspects of responsive sleep support, then don't forget to click the like and subscribe button so you'll know when we release our latest weekly video. If you're new round here, a big warm welcome to the hub of responsive attachment focused sleep solutions. I'm Dr. Lyndsey Hookway, paediatric nurse, IBCLC, responsive sleep and parenting advocate, author and researcher. Our holistic sleep coaching program has so far supported over 500 sleep coaches worldwide, transforming the lives of thousands of families who want and need this type of skilled and specialised responsive sleep support. Many of our students and graduates are big advocates not only of responsive sleep support, but also specifically supporting clients who bed share. Coaches like Isadora, who provides amazing, practical and relatable sleep support primarily to bed sharing families. Isadora was and is a bed sharing mother herself, and her clients flock to her because they know she will provide genuinely responsive support for their bed sharing choices. But as well as supporting bed sharing when it's safe to do so and working for the whole family, there are times when clients want to be able to move on gently from bed sharing while protecting the close responsive bond that they've built up with their child. So let's dive into why families might want to stop bed sharing and how you can help them. First of all, let's be clear, there are no consistent global guidelines about bed sharing. While the whole world can agree on several fundamentals such as back to sleep and no smoking, there are other complicated factors that mean we do not have the same health recommendations for everyone. What we do know is that irrespective of public health recommendations, some parents will choose to bed share anyway. In the US, between 30 and 50% of parents bed share, which is similar to the figures in the UK. Here in the UK, we have a policy of providing information and encouraging parents to make informed choices based on their unique situation. Bed sharing can be fabulous and a wonderful tool to address a specific sleep concern, even if a client doesn't plan on making bed sharing their family's long-term sleep arrangement. Some of the reasons it can be helpful include faster and easier settling during extreme fatigue, a chance to reconnect overnight if parents have been separated from their child in the daytime. It's often easier to place limits on night feeds for a nursing toddler within the context of the family bed. It can calm a very sensitive child and support secure attachment. It can also be a bridge to facilitating more independent sleeping through the use of bed sharing in the child's room if they're old enough. And let's not forget that in many cultures, it's simply the norm. However, bed sharing is not the answer to all sleep dramas, and the best way to discuss this is with compassion, nuance, and no judgment. Discussing this in a safe place means that the answer you get when bed sharing is no longer working for your client or is just not an option is not a non-responsive one. I run into all kinds of scenarios where bed sharing is not the answer. Here are the 5 main ones and some tips to help if you and your clients identify with any of these. Currently, the recommendations are that parents should not share a bed with their baby if their child was born prematurely, either of the parents smoke, drink or take drugs which could make them sleepy, and some guidelines add those who are not exclusively breastfeeding. I'm acutely aware of how triggering that list may be for many people. We simply don't have enough evidence for the groups and scenarios mentioned, so for now, an independent sleep space may be safest for those clients. Being a responsive, gentle parent isn't a club where you have to tick all the boxes to be a member. They can be just as responsive and attachment focused if they take strong sedating painkillers, formula feed, or their partner smokes. It's important to remind your clients of this. Responsive parenting doesn't need to feel like a clique. One option for these parents is to use a floor bed or co-sleeper crib so they can snuggle up close to their little one without being in the same sleep space. I know this sounds really obvious, but one of the main reasons for bed sharing is to maximise sleep. If the parent lies there awake because of hypervigilance, or they find themselves waking up frequently to check on their baby, then they may find they sleep better separately. If they're worried about bed sharing and can't relax, it may help to have a discussion with them about their specific situation so that they can make an informed choice about it and ask any questions that might ease their fears. Hypervigilance is sometimes associated with trauma and anxiety, so I strongly encourage you to signpost your client to appropriate psychological support if they feel they would benefit from that. We nicknamed our second child Spider as she was so wriggly. Sometimes a new onset of nighttime movements can indicate an iron deficiency, so it's worth discussing diet with your client, especially if the child is over about 9 months, and making sure they talk this through with their doctor and a dietitian if they're concerned. But some kids are just wriggly, and this doesn't always make for a pleasant bedfellow. You could consider suggesting they transfer their child, if they're over 1, to an older sibling's bed. This is a creative and liberating alternative for many families who understand that all mammals, including most humans, share a bed with someone at night. Siblings often love sharing a bed, and children are usually more tolerant of their wriggly sleeper sibling. Before I continue, I would love to know, if you're working with families, how often does the bed sharing question come up for you in your work? Do you mostly have clients who are nervous and scared to try it? Or do your clients just long to have their bed back to themselves again? Maybe a mixture of the two? Let me know in the comments. Many parents have mixed feelings about transferring their older child to their bed with the arrival of a new sibling. But there are times when this may be the best option. It's not safe to have a newborn and a toddler next to each other in the bed. You would need to make sure there's a child on either side of the bed sharing parent, with the baby on the breastfeeding mother's side. If this isn't going to work, they could try having one parent bed sharing with the older child in a separate bed, while the other parent bed shares with the baby. This also means they won't wake their toddler in the night when the baby wakes for a change or a feed. Sometimes it just gets to the point where a parent wants a bit of space. It's sometimes too much to be needed and touched all day and then needed and touched all night too. Wanting some time between cool sheets, not touching another human, is totally normal. If you're working with a parent who's feeling touched out, make sure you've tried to think of creative suggestions for them to invest in their own self-care. I know this isn't easy if they're at home with dependent children, but it can be as simple as making time to get outdoors every day, not being the last to eat, doing something that makes them feel better about themselves, getting the help they need, and sharing the load more. Reminding them to ask family, friends, and their co-parent to help is really important. If bed sharing is becoming part of the problem and not part of the solution for them, then it's okay to gently and kindly make the transition. Consider a floor bed, co-sleeper, or sibling bed. If their child is over 1, consider having them sleep on the less exhausted parent's side of the bed. Making changes with sleep takes patience, kindness, and teamwork. If a sleep situation is becoming unsustainable, there are plenty of ways to change it without making anyone sad or stressed. As well as all the tips I've shared so far, here are 8 more aspects to consider. Suggest other easy hacks to make night times easier, such as room sharing, taking turns, and napping in the day. Encourage families to arrange lots of support to help them cope with the reality of nighttime parenting. Optimise sleep across the 24-hour period, focusing on sleep hygiene, appropriate amounts and distribution of naps, and balance of rest and activity. Provide information about normal infant sleep. Suggest parents to have realistic expectations about night feeding and waking. Have conversations with parents as early as possible, preferably antenatally, about where their baby will sleep. Address any unsafe sleep practices with compassion and empathy. Refer families on to appropriate practitioners if required, such as IBCLCs, doctors and therapists, to address other underlying causes of difficulty with sleep. So, I'm coming into land. The key point is that while bed sharing can be meaningful to families and offers benefits like facilitating night feeds and nurturing parent-child closeness, it's also okay to support families to move on from it in a responsive way. There are many reasons why parents might want an alternative to bed sharing, including having a restless child or feeling touched out. By engaging in non-judgmental discussions, you can support families to make informed decisions that they feel good about. The goal is to work towards finding sleep sustainability while simultaneously maintaining responsiveness. Lastly, if you're interested in supporting families in a way that is practical, responsive and evidence-based, then we would love to hear from you. The first step is to book a call with one of us and see if we're a good fit. All you need to do is click the link below this video. Thank you for watching, and if you found this information helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on responsive sleep support and parenting solutions. Bye for now.